we're gonna take a closer look at the Switch's controller options. We have here the Pro Controller, the gray JoyCon in the grip that came with the console. I don't have the charging grip. And a set of Neon JoyCon purchased separately with the JoyCon strap. So I'm just gonna play with the JoyCon configuration, taking them in and out of the straps, and placing them in and out of the grip, talk about my experience with them, and also taking a close look at each thing and the Pro Controller. We'll save this for last because this is my favorite, and without giving too much away, I'm gonna go ahead and give it all away. This is probably my favorite controller of all time, and I'll explain why when we get to this after we take a look at the JoyCon. Okay, the derpy puppy face is totally accurate in person. I thought maybe it was just coming through in the photos before the system released, and that in hand it wouldn't necessarily look like the derpy dog face, but it definitely does. And it makes my daughters very happy. Speaking of my daughters, one is 8 and one is 13, and my 8-year-old loves Zelda with the JoyCon and the grip. This is her preferred control configuration to play Zelda. My 13-year-old prefers the Pro Controller. Her hands are big enough that it's comfortable, but my 8-year-old's hands are still pretty small, and but this is like the perfect pro quote-unquote setup for her, and it looks good in her hands. I mean, it feels good in my hands here. These handles are the perfect size, but you know, as far as the placing of the analog sticks and the size of the buttons, it's not my preferred for a long play session, but it definitely is a commendable controller setup. It doesn't feel like a modular kit, you know. It doesn't feel like it has seams, or you don't feel any movement when you're using it. It's a solid controller, but it clearly is still the pieces are still the size that are inherent in the JoyCon themselves. I wonder what this hoop is supposed to be. It's very peculiar to me. I don't know what the application for that hoop is. Some people have complained that Nintendo didn't include the charging grip with the console, and that you just get this plastic holder. But I'm going to say that been haphazardly, however you say that, charging our controllers, and we haven't gotten anywhere near running out of battery. You know, we don't pay too much attention to when we charge. We sometimes plug in. Sometimes these are on the console when it's docked. Sometimes these are. And we've been playing tons of Zelda and also some multiplayer Snipper Clips and Bomberman. And yeah, there's no battery life problem on these controllers. I haven't done much portable, so I don't know, you know, if I was doing extended tabletop or traveling with it or something. But these colors are allowed. The thing that saves it from being too loud is that these are all matte finish. You know, it's kind of like a smooth feeling hard plastic. And of course the black accents balance it. But they are loud colors, but they are gorgeous. I don't know. You know, they did it. They chose some crazy, outlandish, bold colors, but they still look smart on the whole device and setup. Of course, it's to communicate fun and playfulness, but it's still, and definitely in person, it's still clever, and it doesn't cheapen the look of the whole system as a whole. And here you have the left and right with the minus and the plus. Your 4 buttons with your arrows, A, B, X, Y, clickable, control sticks, L and R, and I think the official names for these buttons are SL and SR, something like that. Maybe for side L and R. And these are just L and R and ZL and ZR, as opposed to, so they gave the buttons their own names. L, Z, or R, ZR, SR. And the release for pulling them off the console, the grip, and the straps. And these are very easy to slide on and off the console, and also in and out of the grip. But these straps are the hardest thing to remove. And I think that's by design, because the point is that you're supposed to strap these onto your wrist and things don't come flying off. But I kind of hope they wear in a little bit. But unlocking down here helps. I still feel like I'm being a little too rough when I do it, but that's how you gotta do. beautiful setup, and I do enjoy playing Bomberman and Snipper Clips with the Joy-Con sideways like this. It doesn't feel like I need anything more. And let me just tell you, Snipper Clips is a blast, and everyone laughs when they play, and it's good for, I play it with my wife, and we have a really good time together. It's bonding. We look at each other when we finish puzzles and laugh and smile, and it's good stuff. Oh, and mentioned this in my other video when I was doing a close look at the console, but I'm not having any connectivity issues with my Joy-Con. We game like 4 to 9 feet away from the dock, and it's not a direct line of sight, and my Wi-Fi router is in the same room in my living room, and there's no problem. So I have all the strikes against me that should make it not work well, and it works perfectly fine. And now for this beauty. I tweeted out recently that if you have a Switch and you play in long play sessions, like for hours at a time, or even an hour, whatever, then I highly recommend finding it the budget to invest in a Pro controller. This controller has set a new standard for me for Pro controllers. I absolutely love this thing. I have held the Xbox One and the PS4 controller. I haven't had long play sessions on either of them, so obviously my recommendation here is not balanced. But even the immediate grip, and obviously this is subjective also because my hand size and shape, but the immediate grip feel is instantly more comfortable for me. The texture of the handles here is a grippy rubber, and it's not too grippy, and it's not smooth. It's a Goldilocks zone. It's just right. And my index fingers place on these very generously sized triggers just right. I can hit the regular L and R buttons very easily, and of course the ZL and ZR are extremely easy. On the Wii U Pro controller, I had a hard time hitting the L and R, the regular L and R, because they were too far forward or too far up, and it felt like a strain to press them, but I haven't had that experience at all on these. I don't know if it's the way the controller is made, my hands rest further down, or they brought, it's just, they slightly tweaked something that lets my index fingers sit just right for all of it. And I'm never mistakenly pressing one for the other. It's just right. The control sticks have great traveling distance, and it's super easy to used them as analog sticks for a light tilt versus a hard tilt, and all of the variations in between. I don't feel like it's ever fighting against me, even though it clearly springs back very quickly. I always feel like I have complete freedom and control with my tilting and angling. Also, they're very grippy as well. Like, my thumbs can just lightly rest on the control sticks, and I feel like I have great control still. Now the D-pad and the buttons have that smooth stone finish that I also talked about in the close look at the console video. They kind of have this theme running through the hardware and peripherals of this. It's like a rough plastic, but it's so fine, the texture, that it feels like a smooth stone, sort of. And that's on the D-pad and on the buttons, and it just feels rich. To be honest, it feels like a luxury thing. It's obviously plastic, but they chose a great texture. And the D-pad is very tight. It's very snappy. Plus and minus, home and sharing. Not much to talk about here. I wonder if I'm doing things to the console in the other room, pressing all these buttons. Actually, we would know. No, it's not connecting. Okay. And you have the clear case for the main portion of the controller, which I think is Nintendo's, even on the quote-unquote executive controller for their system. It's their little playfulness tucked in there, This is the premium controller for their console, but it's still clear and fun and something unique and different. And but it feels very nice. And I have been playing Zelda for hours and hours and hours and hours, and probably sweating, and probably, my skin oils and stuff, and the controller still looks like new to me. Yes, it has a secret message inside here, but before I recorded this video, I tried to see if I could make it appear on the video, but I can't make it work here. But it says, what is it? Thanks to all gamers or something, right inside here. The only flaw, if you want to call it that I have with this controller is here, which is the infrared, because the Pro Controller has all of the components of the JoyCon, the gyro, the HD rumble, and the infrared, and the Amiibo NFC functionality. This infrared screen is very easy to scratch with the USB-C for charging. You can see I'm already scratching it, and I'm being very careful. This might have been me or my daughter's, who knows, because this thing is very easy to scratch, so I imagine that's when I noticed this, I started becoming even more careful, but that's kind of a pain that you have to be that vigilant to keep the scratches off of here. But again, I strongly encourage finding the budget to invest in a Pro controller. This is a fine controller.